Morning, good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. I am Naima Singletary, and you are here at The Power to Lead, which is where I am every weekday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Paris time, specifically talking to Melanin Messengers who know that they're meant to affect change through speaking, through writing, and that they're to be rich, both financially and otherwise. And here on this show, I talk about power. The root of what I'm talking about is power, coming into power, being powerful, how to assert power, and all the nuances as it relates to that, and how I serve my clients as a spiritual business advisor. And I'm a leading spiritual business advisor. So what that means is I have thoughts going through my head about what that means. And what I'm calling forth now is, what is the best way to articulate this as the spiritual business advisor? I deal in truth. I was watching a live stream the other day with another woman who deals in truth, and it was a Facebook live stream, and so it was her and this. I won't want to give too many details about, because I don't want to highlight them right now. I really want to highlight the point of they very much, the way she navigates only works outside of the matrix. And these people who she was talking to on this live stream were very much intertwined with the thinking and the rules that govern the matrix. And a person must be in such truth and sovereignty, and not just knowing it, but walking it, because you don't really know it until you walk it, that really puts them on the leading edge. So understanding consciousness outside of the matrix, and also understanding consciousness inside of the matrix, and then learning how to navigate the two to really affect change. This is what makes me the spiritual business advisor. So I've never shared that before. I just felt, called to say that today. So today's topic is, who do you go to in business and in life when shit gets real? For real, for real. Who do you go to when you have a, what do you call that? A mob. Like, you got people coming after you in business. You got some folks are disappointed or angry or whatever. And instead of dealing with it maturely, they come after you. They come after you online. They're trying to destroy your career. I mean, I've seen this happen. This has happened to me, for me. Right? I'm very clear of 2 and 4. And that's just one thing. Like, who do you go to when you're having these, when you're ascending and you feel like you're going crazy? When you, gosh, I could just create a whole list. When you are, establishing new ways of being, and because all this is about being. It's all about being and your energy of it all. And when you're stepping into, like, your vibration is here, right? And so let's say you're at a vibration of a consistent $10,000, just filling your number, right? Whatever is your comfortable financial number, right? And you decide you're gonna double that, or even a third, right? So let's say your average is $10,000 a month, and you're like, my goal now is to make my new normal $20,000 a month. And that space, that energetic space, because the numbers is a representation of energetics, when you are navigating the space of going from 10,000 to 20,000 in the way you be, in the way you think, and what your comfort zone is, the freak down happens, which is why most women, most people, I would say most women though, because that's who I've mostly served over my career. This is why the women who are not coached, the women who are not supported, they never make it. And even if they do it, it never sustains. They'll have a $20,000 month and they'll be happy and excited, but they're not doing it month after month after month. The value of the coaching is getting into a rhythm of it, right? And having the support as you're getting into the rhythm of it. Because a lot of success also is momentum and who you're being in the momentum. It's like you start. So let's say, what's today? I think today's the 10th, right? And so let's say you start coaching with somebody today on the 10th and you sign up to work with them for 6 months. And you say, okay, within this 6 months, my goal is to take my current normal, which is $10,000 a month or filling your number. And my goal is to get it up to $20,000 a month in this 6-month period, right? And then so you start, here is day one, right? And so you say, you work with your coach and you put together the plan that you're going to go about to make this a reality, right? And so if you're not steeped in mind, being, and wealth consciousness, you think it's just the things you're going to do, right? And this is just growth. You figure this out along the way. You think all you got to do is put together this plan, do your videos on Instagram, put out your offers, email your list, you know, send out some warm welcome letters to some people who you've known for, 3 years or a decade or whatever. And then you start to realize that there's a way that I'm in this that's not powerful. There's a way that when I do my videos, I'm still doubting. There's a way that when I send out this offer, I actually don't think people are going to buy it. There's a way that when right? So there's this way of being. And so what you do is then you start getting into the rhythm of being, right? So then the things that you are doing and the things that you are the way that you are being starts to line up, okay? Now, see, I've kind of like gone off, right? Because the topic of today is who do you go to when shit gets really real in business and in life, right? But this feels really important to go into the momentum of when you're building a thing. Oh, actually, I see where the connection is. That's why I love when I allow myself. What you guys don't know is when I'm doing these videos, intelligence is coming through the whole time. And my job is to really let it come through consciousness and come out of my mouth. That's my job here. Let it come through and let it come out of my mouth. So sometimes, like, I can feel a tangent that's not from spirit and that'll take me off, and you don't know that I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. And I'm like, nope. And then I keep where I'm going. Sometimes though, spirit comes and says, okay, go here. And it takes me somewhere that I wasn't intending to go. Hallelujah. This is high discernment. This is what I mean. You will learn this working with me. You will learn this working with me. And this is also, as I said in the beginning of today's show, what makes me the spiritual business advisor, not a spiritual business advisor. Okay. Okay. So 6 months, right? So once you're a month and a half into this, you start to get it, right? Because you thought you knew in the beginning because we're so smart and full of ourselves, right? But then you realize, and this is why the people who don't get coached, they never make it because they're in their own head, they're alone, and they're outside. See, when you get inside, you're inside of this container and there's a different kind of play and commitment. When you're outside, you're just a watcher, and typically you maintain the frequency that you're at sustainably, because it's the sustainability and the momentum that really starts to impact the universe, because it's like an impression upon the universe that takes time, right? Because you make the decision that I'm going to do 20K, but it's not like 20K just pops up like that unless you're at that advanced state, which most people are not. So anyway, all right, so you're a month and a half into this, right? And you start to realize, okay, the way I'm being here is actually kind of fear-based. Is actually not believing. And then you're getting feedback from your coach because you're asking questions. You're feeling like, I don't know, am I doing this right? And you're wondering, right? And in your conversations with your coach, he or she is revealing to you, they're reflecting back on what you're saying, what your experience is inside of your money plan, right? And so then you make a bold decision. I love this shit. You make a decision somewhere that is exclusive to you and necessary for you. right? You might realize that your boundaries are weak when it comes to your existing client base. Like, you let people show up late to meetings and you let them just randomly, reschedule without any regard for calendars. You break commitments to yourself. Nobody else knows, but you know. So it's like destroying your respect for yourself. You don't follow, right? Whatever the thing is, right? And you know it, even if nobody else knows it, you know it. There's somewhere where you need to clean up because you're leaking. You're leaking frequency, you're leaking power, you're leaking energy by having whatever that thing is be weak, right? And this is what I mean, like I said yesterday or sometime this week when I said, it's all happening for you, not to you. It's all happening for you, not to you. So you have this leak and you make this decision that I'm going to clean this leak up. And this happens because you're in conversation with your coach. This is the value of coaching. High level coaching, right? Because the thing going on now is you got all these people who just see a way to make a quick buck and get on the internet and throw together a brand who are calling themselves coaches. And then people don't know how to discern between a quality coach. A quality coach can hear you. They can hear what you're not saying. They can see things that you can't see. They can lovingly call you forth. So in these conversations, in this month and a half, it could be 2.5 months for you. It really depends on your ability to surrender and your commitment to the goal of $20,000 a month or whatever the goal you've established for yourself within that 6 months working with that coach, right? So you make this bold decision. Let's say you make this bold decision that you're going to send out an email to all of your clients that this is the way it is now. If you're late to your appointment, you're fired. You might not use that language, but if you're late to your appointment, you're fired. If you want to cancel, you need to give me 24 hours notice, right? And you just really put some clear boundaries around your relationship with your clients. And it feels to you scary. It feels like, oh my God, my clients are going to leave. They're going to think I'm mean. They're going to think I'm rude. They're going to think I don't care about them. They're going to go tell people. They're going to ruin my reputation. They're going to, right? And yet, it is exactly what you need to bump up your respect for yourself and your clients' respect for you, right? So you're navigating into this space, right? And you send the email out and you let them know this is the new rule, okay? Excuse me. There's a mess over there. And you let them know this is the new rule, right? And you get some pushback. You get some people who say, well, I have a daughter who has to be to school at 7 a.m. and this is inconsiderate of like, who am I going to get to take my daughter to school? And, or you get something where somebody's, something that ruffles your feathers that make you feel like you're wrong and you did a bad thing, right? First of all, if you weren't being supported, you probably wouldn't have made that decision. Second, because in these high emotional states, and this is just one example, I can just go down a list of things that have happened in my world and in my clients' world and in my colleagues and peers' world. When you start really playing a bigger game and you're a fucking woman with fucking boundaries and responsibilities, and you realize that you're not going to have success if you keep letting people run over you, have their way with you, say what they want to say, do what they want to do, disrespecting time, disrespecting boundaries, right? And then so you start freaking out because you're like, now you're feeling like the bad guy. They're painting you to be the devil and the villain and all you did was say, you can no longer be late to meetings. All you did was say, if you need to cancel or reschedule, you need to give 24 hours notice. That is respect. But because you have leaked in this lower vibration way, you have allowed it, which is why you haven't been able to ascend in power. You haven't been able to ascend in income or ascend in any way that's important to you. But because you have a coach and the shit just got hot, it just got real. You got motherfuckers telling me I want a fucking refund. You're not considerate and compassionate of my situation. Give me a refund. and yet your policy is no refund. And they go and write a scathing report about you on the internet, and they go and tell people that you're a selfish, inconsiderate coach, right? What you gonna do about that? When you have your coach, like someone who's been there, like I want a dirty coach. When I say dirty, I mean a coach who's been in the game and who has had her fucking throat sliced and is still in the game popping. I want a coach who has negative reviews online. I want a coach who has boundaries and standards that's like, this is what it is, you're in or you're out. I want a coach who knows who she is. I want a coach who takes responsibility for her act. I want a coach who fucks up and then apologizes. Like, I want a real motherfucker. These squeaky clean ass coaches, these are the ones who got their clients running all over them. They look good on the outside. They're smiling and they're like, I'm here for you and you can do it. But these are the ones who behind closed doors, their clients are late. They're not consistently making the money they want to make. Their reverence for themselves is low. The reverence their clients has for them is low. And it's all because they know on some level, but they're not willing to walk it, and they're not being coached. So who you go to when it gets real is somebody who's been where you're at. So I've been with the negative reviews. I've been with people lying on me. I've been with people being mad because I established boundaries, like all that. So I want to go to somebody who's dealt with that so they can tell me how they got through it. Like, how do I deal with somebody's lying? Like, what should I do? Something? What am I supposed to do? Should I get an attorney? Should I just let it go? But then they're doing this. Like, how do I, right? And then you're in this high emotional state because you feel violated. You feel wronged. Like, this is unfair, right? And that's why I say when it gets real, right? What do you do when your goal is to cross $500,000 for the year and your mom dies during that year? Or you get diagnosed with diabetes. Or suddenly you have to get a surgery that you didn't even predict. Who do you go to when the shit gets real? And it's one thing to be able to go to your mother, right? Your mother, your spouse, your sister, your friend, someone who genuinely loves and cares about you. Like, there is definitely a place for that, right? But in the business world, when there's a way for you to respond to situations in the business world, I'm talking in the business, who do you go to? You want to get a dirty coach. Now, I know that may be strong language. A dirty coach, dirty. When I say dirty, I mean richly experienced. She's been through it all. She understands being poor and being rich and everything in between. So she can coach you on all of that. She can coach you on what it was like for her to be small-minded and judgmental and righteous, and what it's been like to be expansive and in strong leadership and taking personal responsibility and thinking in highness. She can go to you from talking about, you know, everything that's going on in the lower nature realm of humanity because she's been there, and everything in between up to our evolved selves, constantly evolving selves. So you want to find a dirty coach. Hashtag dirty coach. Hashtag dirty advisor. Hashtag dirty healer. Hashtag dirty shaman. Hashtag dirty, right? Fill in the blank. You want somebody, and that's why it's so important to get somebody you got to get somebody who's ahead of you, like way ahead of you. Not just like 3 months ago she was here and now she's here. And there's a lot of that going on, right? But for those of you who are looking for mastery and who are really playing a big game, right? Not only just in numbers, but in your power. Like the kind of power that makes people clearly love you or hate you. That's how you know you are really being who you really are, is you have people who love you and you have people who hate you. Lukewarm is death. Lukewarm is death. Excuse me. And so many women are afraid to be hated. They're afraid to fight. I will fight you. I will fight myself. And when I say fight you, I mean, if you come after me, I'm handling you. I'm not going to start any problems with you. I'm not going to, but if you come after me, you're getting handled to the end, and I'm coming doggedly. Like, you don't, if you come after me, you better have an army. You better be willing to die. You better be willing to go all in if you come after me. Because if you come after me, it's no mercy. And I say that because the reason why I'm so good at what I do, the reason why, like, I was made for this. My whole life has been about reclaiming power. I've always been the weird black sheep of the family. I've always been hungry for freedom and like personal self-expression, like being who I really am. Since I was a kid, like teenage years is when it got really difficult because, you know, there's hormones and puberty and peer pressure really sets in middle school. And there have been countless situations in life where I was out of power and I could see myself out of power in the moment, and I was frozen or I was afraid, or right. And then there have been moments when I've tried to assert power and was afraid, or, you know, want to express who I am, or want to ask for something that I want, or want to establish a boundary. I mean, like, this has been my entire life. And there have been so many times when I have betrayed myself on the path of womanhood, where I have allowed somebody else to have their way with me while it's cutting me on the inside. Like if I just even go to my relationship with men once upon a time, you know, I was sexually abused as a girl, 5 years old, and it was never resolved until when I came into my teen years and I started to see. Now, I can say this in hindsight. At the time, I didn't know this, but I went on my own personal journey of 2 decades healing sexual trauma in my own way because talk therapy wasn't working. Seeing a therapist, it wasn't working. But prior to seeing a therapist, the thought that I had in my head was that my purpose as a female person in a female body was just to let men have their way with me. So I have very clear memories of this one particular guy and even other men who I would just let them do whatever they wanted to do to me in a bedroom at 14, 15 years old. If they say it, then I give it. And as I started to grow up and I started to notice myself and start to really question in a way that I wasn't sure if other people were talking about this. I definitely wasn't going to talk to my mom about it, right? And it was just like, and it was all an inside game. It's not like I was talking to anybody about this. So it just got to the point where I would so often, even in my early 20s, throughout my 20s, where I would be in a situation where, and I know women can relate to this, where you're so uncomfortable. Like you're being so violated in so many ways, and you tighten up because you don't know how to handle it, right? You haven't established a strong voice. You haven't established an erect, strong spine. You haven't established who you are. You haven't established strength of heart, strength of character. And so my whole life has been about this push, pull. Can I say this? What will happen? What do I want? What will they say? And this whole navigation of being a woman of power. And so when I brought this into entrepreneurship, everything gets illuminated because you can't hide in entrepreneurship because it's you. You are it. You are the face. You are the voice, particularly in the transformation space. And I know I've gone over 20, but this is really important. And so it just got to a point, especially when I came into the transformation space. Like my time between, I say 2008 up to 2011 was like a primer. Well, my whole life was primer, but there was, because I had aggressively gone into entrepreneurship in 2007-ish, it was like a priming for womanhood because I was in entrepreneurship in a way that I had never been before. Like I was like, my business was paying my bills. Like I had never been in that strong of kind of relationship with entrepreneurship where my efforts and the results of my business was affecting my rent and my food. So it was a new level of responsibility and it was a new level of illumination. And so that priming really got me ready for when I came into the transformation space in 2011, where it's a whole new level of power that's required. Because now we're talking about transparency. You know, the world of transformation is all about transparency and like real womanhood and really coming into yourself. And so it's been since then, 2011, that I have just really blossomed in a crazy way. And then in the last 4 years, is where I got my fight intact. Women are taught that fighting is for men. Don't fight, be nice. Let's, have peace on earth. Let's be peaceful. Let's, be civilized citizens and be nice, right? That's not cross your legs, be good. Be nice, right? And yet, most of us are incomplete in our womanhood. And that happened through constant fight at us. Men coming after us. The women who supported them coming after. I'm talking about over the centuries. I'm talking about a much bigger thing than just a woman having a bad day. We have been reduced and cut out of history, had our hearts and souls and pussies attacked for centuries. We have been demeaned for centuries. So every woman who's born today in the 21st century and who has been born is born into a system of oppression. And when she has the audacity to come into who she is, meaning she's gotten intimate with her true desires, her heart, her mind, her soul, and has the audacity to then assert that in the world, my desire is to live like this. My desire is to have this quality of people in my life. My desire is to make this kind of money. My desire is to have my body look like this. My desire is to have people interact with me in this way. And she starts to assert in this kind of a way, people are going to come the fuck after you, and you have to be able to come the fuck back. Fight. And I know it because I've done it on many occasions. And then be a black woman fighting. Oh, because if you're a black woman, you really are like the Mother Earth who are supposed to absorb everybody's shit. Like, you're a black woman, and no one says this, but there's an expectation that you're a black woman, so you're the mother. Don't you understand? Like, your job is to sacrifice, as a black woman, your job is to sacrifice your whole entire being to make everybody else safe and happy and comfortable. And when you have the audacity to say, excuse me, before anybody else is taken care of, I'm taken care of. You have the audacity to do that on multiple levels. Oh God, you're a villain, you're selfish, you're a fucking bad witch, you're not God's child, you're right. So you must learn to fight for who you are. I'm gonna share this one thing that even just thinking about it, I can feel the tears and the ducats building up. And so I may cry. And I remember the first time I heard it, and I remember to this day, I heard it one time, and I remember to this day, I heard it, I was on the treadmill in Italy, listening to a podcast. It was called, The Brave Entrepreneur with Jen, I think her name is Jen Rodriguez. I could be wrong on the name, but it's called The Brave Entrepreneur. I was on the treadmill listening to her podcast, and she was interviewing Dr. Venus Opal Reese. This was like 3 years ago. And Jen asked, the truth of it all. God damn it. Jen asked Dr. Venus Opal Reese, what is your definition of brave? What is your definition of brave? This would be like the final question she would ask all of her interviewees at the end of the interview. What is your definition of brave? And Dr. V said, brave is getting into a street fight with yourself on behalf of yourself. Brave is getting into a street fight with yourself on behalf of yourself.